Okay, let's get started working on the customer list. Excuse me, I'll open this customer list in Design View, and I'm going to go ahead and make the pane minimize so I've got a little more room to work. And what I'm going to do is bring up the property sheet. If you've clicked on something else on the form, if you click on the property sheet button up on the ribbon, it's going to bring up the properties box for whatever you last clicked on. In this case, I've done the address. So to make sure we're dealing with the property sheet for the form, that's what we want, you click on this little square in the top left corner. It's got a black square that appears in it, and it means you've selected the form, and so the properties are now of the form. You've probably used this properties box a lot for formatting things and stuff like that, record sources if you've done forms before, but we're going to spend a lot of time here in the Event tab. And what these events are, to me, they're like hooks that hook the action of the user into a program. And so it means if you, for instance, load the form, since we're on the form, or if you click on the form, it would cause a program to run. Most of them I've never used. You find that you only use a few things many times, and there's a lot of things you don't use at all in Access. If you scroll to the bottom, though, here's one thing I use all the time, and that's this key preview setting. I'm going to double click on the no to turn it into a yes. That's what I want you to do, because this forces Access to analyze the keys before it actually executes the keys. So keystrokes on the keyboard are analyzed one by one. Now if you scroll back up to the top, go back up, let me go up to the top and then come down. Right here, notice there's a key up, a key down, and a key press. Okay, key down is the one you're going to use. What that means is when somebody presses a key down, it will run a subroutine if there's one assigned to this event. So that's what we want. We want to assign or create a subroutine for this event, this key down event. Because remember, we're taking over the home and end keys, the up and down arrows. Now right over here on the right, you may not be able to see them on my video, but here's a button with 3 dots in it. It's called the Builder button. If you click on that button, it's going to open a Choose Builder box. And what you'll do every time is you'll click on Code Builder, because we want to build VBA code, and then you'll click on OK. Now let me shrink my window down, size it. There we go. Let me bring this up from the bottom. Okay, this is better. Now, notice this is like a whole separate program. VBA actually is a separate program. It actually appears as a second icon on your Access icon on your taskbar. So this is the VBA window. You can see while I've been sizing it, there's the form is still underneath there. Okay, so by clicking on Key Preview and then creating the Code Builder, it's actually created a subroutine for us. I'm way over to the right. Let me scroll back. There we go. So notice what it's done. It's created a VBA sheet that's tied to our form. Okay, it's got on the top something that says Option Compare Database. You'll always see that. You'll never have to change it. It just means that any sorting will be done by the default in the database. And then below there, it's got a subroutine. It says Private Sub. So sub means subroutine. It's just a piece of programming code that runs until it sees end sub. And you can see the end sub is down there, one more line. And it has a name, excuse me, a name for the subroutine. In this case, it's a subroutine that belongs to the form that we're in. And it's the key down subroutine because it belongs to the key down event. And then it's got some parentheses. Now, what is in the parentheses is it's got key code as integer, shift as integer. What these are variables. Variables are like buckets to hold information while the program is running. And since this is a private subroutine, any values that it holds in key code and shift will be gone once the form closes. That's what it means by being private. Okay, so what I want to do is to show you what those key codes are by using a little function called message box that you'll use a lot. I'm going to type MSGBOX message box, and then I'm going to open a parentheses. One of the things you'll really learn to love about Access programming is it's always showing you examples of what is needed. And notice in this case it's got the word prompt. I do have to have some kind of prompt in this message box. Everything else that's in brackets is optional. So I'm going to put in a quote. The key code is, and then I'm going to put in a space, and I'm going to end my quotes. Now, if you've ever used Excel and done what's called string concatenation, you've hooked the value of more than one piece of text, more than one cell together, you'll remember that you use the ampersand for that. That's above the 7 on the keyboard, so you hold Shift and do an ampersand. You don't have to put a space there. I just like to do it for clarity. And I'm going to put in, after the ampersand and another space, the word key code, and then I'm going to close my parentheses. So what I've got inside this parentheses here is the key code is, and then it should show me the integer value. And notice when I move my arrow up, it's spaced everything out for me. It's going to show me the integer value of that key code. Okay, easy enough? So what I want to do is to go back to the form, and here's one easy way to do it. I'll just drag the form, the code, the VBA editor out of the way, click on the form, and go to Form View, and let me go ahead and press the down arrow. And it says the code for the down arrow is 40, and I'll click OK. And notice it's gone to the right, so it's actually done the action of the down arrow. If I press the right arrow, key code is 39. Okay? If I press the left arrow, key code's 37. Or the end key, key code is 35, and then when I press OK, it's going to do the function of the end key. It's going to go to the right edge. So that's the beginning. We've made our first subroutine, and we're going to use that to control the keys.